Hello, grade 11s, and welcome to an introduction to grade 11 art. So this is in your textbook. Let me just check the page numbers for you. So it is the beginning section of the textbook. Remember, we are working in the Future Managers textbook. So this will be from page 2 all the way up to page 14 in your textbook. Okay. So when we are looking at visual art, what is visual art? Just a little bit of a recap. It talks about the hand, the eye, the intellect, and the imagination coming together in conceptualizing and creating artworks. So you're bringing together those things when you are creating. It is about self-expression, so very important. You are not trying to duplicate somebody else's ideas. You are not trying to give me what I want at the end of the day. You are expressing your visions and your opinions. It is to stimulate your intellect, engage your imagination, and encourages you to develop your own visual language. In visual art, we have our topics, which you should remember and you should be familiar with now. Conceptualizing, which is also known as section A or your source book. Making, which is section B or your artwork. And the third thing would be studying artwork. So that is our visual culture studies or our theory portion. A lot of isms. So this year in grade 11, we are doing a focus on art movements that end in isms. So expressionism, impressionism, cubism, surrealism, our ism words. So in visual culture studies or your theory, we are looking from 1750, which is that 18th century. Remember, we go back one. So 18th century, 1700s. The focus is on Western art to understand where art developed from and to remember to use the skills that you learned in grade 10 when discussing art. So if you don't remember those skills, you can go back. There is a video uploaded. What is visual art under the grade 10 section? The main ingredients to discussing art is we label the information, we have a description, we have a discussion, and then we have interpretations and meanings and messages. The following is an indication of how one can discuss an artwork in more depth. So when we talk about labeling information, we are looking at the artist, the title of the work. For example, we are going to be looking at Picasso's Guernica. Okay, the medium would have been paint, the date, let's say, for example, 1750, and the size would be a size like 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters. In unseen artworks, this is a clue. So usually that information is given to you in a work that is unseen. And then you should know that certain sections of work happen in certain time periods. For example, if it was South Africa and it was before 1990, we know that 1994, we know that it would be forming part of apartheid. Studied artworks must have the surname of the artist. So for example, if it's Vincent van Gogh, we don't just say Vincent. Okay, he's not your buddy, he's not your friend. It's not Vincent, it is Van Gogh. Or you can say Vincent van Gogh. Okay, but the surname always needs to be there. And the title of the artwork also provide a medium. Okay. Okay, when we get to description, we talk about identifying what you can see. So imagine you are describing a picture, for example, this picture here, to a blind person, what are you going to tell them? What are you going to say that you see? There is a man. In front of him, there is a woman with an apple in her hand. The man is holding the woman, and in the background, there is an apple tree, and the moon is also shown. The subjects would be a man and a woman. The history, so maybe this would be part of abstract. So maybe you can go into a bit of that. Discussion, the techniques, not the medium, but how it was created. So the medium for this avocado would be paint, but the technique would have been rough brushstrokes. You can see those little lines created by the brush. So there we can see that the brushstrokes are not blended. It is rough. There is paint splattered. Colors are put next to each other as opposed to blended into each other. Look at the outside of the avocado here. We've got blue and red next to each other, creating kind of that purpley haze, but it's not blended in. Then we can talk about the style. Is it naturalism, figurative, expressionism, abstract, decorative, stylized? Again, if you're not sure about those, go back to the grade 10 video and go through them. Be careful of abstract. Abstract is only if you cannot see what the items are. So this picture of the avocado here, I would say is expressionism because it's rough brushstrokes. There's a lot of feeling and a lot of emotion put into this artwork. The formal elements of art, I'm not going to go through them because they are in that grade 10 video. Like I say, go through it, go back, go over it. Line, shape and form, tone or value, texture, color, space. Line is a continuous mark on a surface with a moving point, so it can be a dot that went for a walk. It is basic to writing, so it builds up our writing. Outlines are around objects and usually connect back to close itself. And then contour lines define the edges. Okay, there's examples of line. Horizontal lines show us peace and calm. Vertical lines show strength and power. Diagonal lines show movement and restlessness. Shape and form. Shape is 2D, form is 3D. Again, I'm going through these quickly so you can go back to the grade 10's video. Tone is talking about shading, and remember that special word there at the top called chiaroscuro. So chiaroscuro is very dark darks and very light lights, big contrasts. Textures, try to stay away from textures like rough and smooth. They are boring. Try to add things like it's coarse, it's slimy, bristly, furry, matted, scratchy, wrinkly. So a lot more detail. Texture, we get simulated or illusionary, and then we get real texture. So simulated is flat. We can see it but not feel it. Real texture, we can feel the actual paint raised on the canvas, or we can feel the texture of the sculpture. Color can also be called hues. Go back and learn your color wheel. Make sure you know what the color wheel is. If we mix all our colors together, we will get black or brown. Tints added with white. Shades added with black. Intensity talks about the brightness. So if you change the brightness on your TV, that is the intensity of the color that's changing. Color schemes. Complementary color schemes. Opposites on the color wheel. So orange and blue. Purple and yellow. Monochromatic is one color with black and white added. Analogous, colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So red, orange, yellow are next to each other on the color wheel. Polychromatic is multicolored, so lots of colors used. Warm colors, so colors like fire, reds, yellows, orange. Cold colors, so like an Arctic landscape, we're looking at blues, whites, greens. Space, So we can have space in sculptures and in pictures in two-dimensionals. So sculptures occupy physical space. So if there's a sculpture there, you can't put anything in the same space. Two-dimensional artworks have space, creating perspective. We have linear perspective, aerial perspective, and foreshortening. So hopefully you are familiar with these already. Linear perspective, going to our vanishing point, so things getting smaller and disappearing. Aerial perspective, things in the background are lighter. They disappear, they fade away. There is no vanishing point though. Foreshortening, things in the front are bigger than things in the back. The perspectives, so 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point. I'm going to add those 3 videos to our playlist if you want to go through them and learn how to draw them again. Remember, we did do it last year in grade 10. So 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point. 1 point perspective is looking down a road and things vanishing. 2 point perspective is a corner of a building, so vanishing in 2 points. And 3 point perspective adds the element of looking from below or looking from above. So we've got the corner plus below or above. Components and principles of design. I can only upload 15-minute videos, so I'm going to start this in the next section.